John Brennan sides with analysts over senior officers as it relates to the Russia probe. The COVID bill is moving along, but will it pass? California governor signs corporate diversity law bill. Speaking of passing, Brits paint white mailboxes black. Yeah, I said it. You're not hearing things. NBA viewership is in the toilet. Oh, half of New York City restaurants could close for good. And 102-year young Chicago woman casts her vote. Yay! Welcome back to the Daily Facts. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the New York Times has an article, Brennan rebuffed request to lower confidence in key Russia finding. So the revelation that the former CIA director sided with analysts over senior officers contained in his new book. Well, of course he has a new book, right? So he can continue to spew out his side of what he believes is the story, and it is a bedtime story. Okay, so it's contained in his new book, has been a focus of the Justice Department review of the Russia inquiry. So this is him in 2016 being grilled. So the former CIA director, John Brennan, disagreed with the recommendation of two senior officers in early 2017 who wanted to override intelligence analysts' determination that the agency had high confidence in one of its major judgments in the assessment of Russia's 2016 election interference, that President President Vladimir V. Putin of Russia tried to help Donald J. Trump by discrediting Hillary Clinton. The revelation by Mr. Brennan in his new book, Undaunted, will probably fuel additional Republican criticism of the intelligence agency's findings. But Mr. Brennan defended his actions, saying he was affirming the determinations of the analysts steeped most deeply in the intelligence, not intervening for political reasons. I didn't change a single analytic judgment in that intelligence community assessment. No, you changed everything, in my humble opinion. Mr. Brennan said in an interview that is set to be broadcast on C-SPAN's Book TV in the coming days, oh my God, these people in their books. The declassified assessment released in January 2017 during the closing days of the Obama administration said that while the CIA and FBI had high confidence in the finding about Mr. Putin, the National Security Agency had moderate confidence, a lower level. Well, isn't that just interesting? Isn't that interesting? Well, I guess in the whole grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if you had medium, medium rare, high, low, somewhere in between confidence. The fact of the matter is that everybody came together at the end of the day in order to attempt to get rid of this president. So it really it really doesn't matter the confidence level of different things. It just doesn't. It was the end result that mattered. And the end result was to try to get him out, President Trump. All I can tell you, Brennan, all I can tell you is good luck with your stupid book. Okay, we've got a little bit of good news here. House Democrats pass partisan COVID bill, relief talks drag. All right, well, let's just hope that they can actually get this thing signed because there are people out there hurting. All right, let's get into the article. Democrats controlling the House narrowly passed a $2.2 trillion COVID-19 relief bill Thursday night, a move that came as top-level talks on a smaller, potentially bipartisan measure dragged on toward an uncertain finish. An air of pessimism was largely taken over the Capitol. The Democratic bill passed after a partisan debate by a 214 to 207 vote without any Republicans in support. Oh, well, they probably think it's too high and there's a lot of pork in this bill, right? Because that's what happens with these bills. They just add a lot of unnecessary stuff that is in no way related to the bill, which in this case is the COVID relief. The move puts lawmakers no closer to actually delivering aid such as more generous weekly unemployment benefits, extended help for small businesses, and especially troubled economic sectors such as restaurants and airlines, and another round of $1,200 direct payments to most Americans. Passage of the 2.2 trillion plan came after a burst of negotiations this week between Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The Trump administration delivered concessions Wednesday, including a 400 per week pandemic jobless benefit and a markedly higher overall price tag of 1.6 trillion, but that failed to win over Pelosi. Well, I would suggest that she just has probably, like I say, a lot of stuff in there that nobody's interested in, nobody being the Republican side. This isn't half a loaf. This is the heel of the loaf, Pelosi said in a televised interview Thursday. Pelosi spoke after the White House attacked her as not being serious. Well, I think she's probably very serious. I don't think she's joking. I think that this is what she wants, but it's just to the Republicans, it's just too much. Talks between Mnuchin and Pelosi were closely held, and the speaker told reporters that no deal would come on Thursday. Mnuchin's offer of a 400 per week jobless benefit put him in the same ballpark as Democrats backing a $600 benefit. Mnuchin's price tag of 1.6 million trillion rather or more could drive many Republicans away. However, even as it failed to satisfy Pelosi. Okay, well, we'll just have to wait and see, right? I mean, we'll eventually find out. It's just more of the same. It's just back and forth. We want to give them 400. No, we want to give them 600. Um, we want to put this in the bill so we can help all of our friends over in the art department in this particular organization. We want to give them $1 billion. That's from Pelosi's side. No, we don't think they need $1 billion. It's things like that. Pelosi's trying to line the pockets of friends, you know, and the Republicans are all about business. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of Pelosi, her, I believe, nephew, Gavin Newsom, he is passing a corporate boardroom diversity law. So California governor signs corporate boardroom diversity law. This is from Fox Business. Yeah. All right. Before we get into it, let's listen in on Gavin Newsom and the individual who brought this bill to his desk.
If we're going to talk about racial justice package, then I got to consider one of the bills you brought down to my desk, which I happen literally to have on my desk, and I might as well take this moment to acknowledge your leadership on that corporate board bill. When we talk about racial justice, we talk about empowerment, we talk about power. We need to talk about seats at the table. And Assembly member, I'm looking forward to signing this bill in a moment as well. Why don't you talk a moment about it?
And for a state to have over 600 corporations headquartered, it is far time past that we needed to have an opportunity to see people of color serve at the corporate board level, the directors level. And certainly the spirit of this bill, I believe, will cause companies to move quickly to start bringing on headhunters who are headhunter groups that are owned and operated by people of color, African Americans, Latino, Asian. And this is an opportunity really to get people of color at the table.
All right. So I'm always skeptical of people being strong-armed into doing things like, I don't know, including a certain number of blacks, we'll say, black women on a board. I don't think a company, a corporate organization should be strong-armed and forced to do that. I think it should be based on merit. If it happens to be a black woman, great. If it happens to be a white woman, great. All right, let's read the article. Hundreds of California based corporations must have directors from racial or sexual minorities on their boards under a first in the nation bill signed Wednesday by Governor Gavin Newsom. The diversity legislation is similar to a 2018 measure that required boardrooms to have at least one female director by 2019. Like that measure, it could face court challenges from conservative groups who view it as a discriminatory quota. Well, it is a discriminatory quota. You're now going into corporate businesses, probably private businesses, I'm assuming. I mean, there aren't any non-private corporate businesses, are there? There aren't government businesses. So there are private corporate businesses, and now you're knocking on their door and saying, you must do this. I'm all about, see, corporations are there to make money for their stakeholders and their stockholders. I mean, that's all there is to it. They're there to make money. So I don't care if there is a Asian person or a black person or a white person, or I don't care who's on the board. I want them to make the money because that's what it comes down to. And their color is of no consequence to me as long as they're doing well. The new law represents a big step forward for racial equality, Holden says. While some corporations were already leading the way to combat implicit bias, now all of California's corporate boards will better reflect the diversity of our state. This is a win-win, as ethnically diverse boards have shown to outperform those that lack diversity. Okay, I don't have a problem with different voices. I don't. But we'll just see how these companies, these corporations do once this is in full effect. The measure requires at least 2 such directors by the end of 2020 on boards with 4 to 9 directors. 3 directors are required for boards with 9 or more directors. Firms that don't comply would face fines of $100,000 for first violations and $300,000 for repeated violations. Well, some of them might just be willing to add that into the budget. Well, this year we're going to be paying out $300,000 because we don't want to pick board members based on race. We want to pick them based on merit. We'll see what happens. All right, this next story just has me, I don't know. Black History Month. Post boxes painted to honor Black Britons. 4 post boxes have been painted black. I'm assuming they were white previously. Otherwise, why would we even be talking about this? Okay, painted black to honor Black Britons, including Sir Lenny Henry and nursing pioneer Mary Seacole. The Royal Mail post boxes in London, Glasgow, Cardiff, and Belfast have been painted as part of Black History Month in October. I just have to stop there because it's ludicrous. I mean, what is that? How does that help anybody? And are you going to paint them white once you're done? Or are you just going to keep them black? Or are you going to paint them purple? Or what are you going to do? Each features a significant figure in the British Black community and has a social media link. Royal Mail says the aim is to help mark the success of Black Britons. A QR code on the mailboxes can also be scanned to bring up a list of the Black Britons who have appeared on special stamps. Okay, the London Post Box is in Acre Lane, Brixton, near to Black Cultural Archives. All right, all right, so this is what they've done here. They've painted their boxes black. We are also using it as an opportunity to celebrate the vital work that our Black employees do throughout the nation, from the mailbag to the meeting room. Well, how about this? Why don't you just celebrate everybody? And that would include Blacks, right? Why don't you just be all inclusive instead of singling out particular groups? To me, it's about everybody. It's not just about the contributions that a Black person makes. It's the contribution that everybody makes. All right. Well, NBA Finals viewership down by 45%, lowest since 1994. I wonder what was going on in 1994 that had it so low. Well, look at LeBron. Doink, oop, I don't know. What's happening? Well, here's what's happening. You're out there protesting. There's this pandemic going on, so people are not filling the stadiums, and people simply aren't watching you on television because they prefer to be there in person. But I would suppose ultimately people are just sick and tired of the you're mixing sports with political issues, and those two don't mix. It's like oil and water. So just don't do it, and maybe your viewership will go up. That's it. Do a tour of apologizing for what you've done thus far, and maybe you'll get a couple percentage points up. But let's get into the article. One would think that having the American sports world's most popular athlete playing in game one of the NBA Finals would equal impressive ratings. Well, I guess you're just not that important to people, and now you're seeing it. Well, one would be wrong. One would, in fact, be very wrong indeed. All right, so this is coming from Breitbart. Instead of posting the good, it is now great numbers that the NBA should have drawn for a game one finals clash, including with millions at home on lockdown and LeBron James on the floor. The NBA saw a catastrophic drop in both ratings and viewership because people are sick and tired of what is going on. Okay? They're tired of it. The opening game of the series between the Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat brought 7.41 million viewers to ABC, the smallest audience for the finals since at least 1994, when total viewers began to be regularly recorded. The previous low was 8.6 million for Game 3 of the 2007 NBA Finals. Massive declines in viewership and ratings are nothing new for the NBA since the league restarted its season with a full embrace of social justice activism. Exactly. NBA has suffered huge drops in numbers. I mean, they had to know that. Now they're just going to completely fall off. People are going to be like, where's the NBA? Oh, they're gone. Well, there's nothing more to say. They're doomed, and they brought it on themselves, and he was at the helm. All right, speaking of being doomed, half of New York City restaurants, bars may close for good due to COVID-19. This is an audit that was done. This comes from the New York Post. All right, so as many as half of all New York City bars and restaurants could shutter permanently within the next 6 months due to the coronavirus, according to a stunning new audit released Thursday by State Comptroller Thomas D. Napoli. The report lays bare the extent of the pandemic's fiscal impact on one of the city's lifeblood industries, which one saw a return to indoor dining on Wednesday at a meager 25% of normal seating capacity. The industry is challenging under the best of circumstances, and many eateries operate on tight margins, said D. Napoli. Now they can face an unprecedented upheaval that may cause many establishments to close forever. In the next half year, a third to half of all city bars and eateries could fall past the point of no return, potentially taking over 150,000 jobs with them. In 2019, the city's restaurant industry accounted for 317,800 jobs, paid out 10.7 billion in wages, and made more than 27 billion in taxable sales. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Okay, well, this article goes on quite a bit, and I think it is worth reading. We're not going to go through all of it. I think we pointed out the highlights, and it's just a very sad state of affairs that New York finds itself in. Uh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll revisit this, at a later date. Last but not least, I just thought this was amazing. This comes from the New York Post as well. 102-year young Chicago teacher wears hazmat suit to cast mail-in ballot. Now it says she's 102 and she's a Chicago teacher. I wonder if she's still teaching because that would be amazing. Okay, well she's casting her vote in the mail. Now, I'd like to see people actually go in person, but she's 102 and she has on a hazmat suit. So let's cut her a break, right? A 102-year young Chicago teacher donned an unconventional outfit to cast her vote Thursday, a pink and white full-service hazmat suit. I wonder if someone gave her that for the purposes of a photo op. Because one doesn't just come across a full body hazmat suit in pink. A picture on the Chicago Teachers Union Twitter account captured the moment. Patrice Lumpkin dropped her mail-in ballot into a USPS box. Good morning. This is 102 year CTU retiree B. Lumpkin casting her vote by mail ballot, the union wrote. Okay, so she's retired. If B can do it, anyone can do it. Vote. Well, I mean, of course, but that kind of doesn't make sense. If she can do it, anyone can do it. I mean, it makes sense for a 102-year-old to get out there and do this. That's pretty amazing. But if I can do it to cast my vote into the mailbox, no, I'm going in person to cast my vote. If anyone can do it, then I can do it. Should be the case. I'm not going to the nearest blue box and dropping in my vote. No, Okay, well, we're going to end the news on that feel good story. 102. You go, B. All right, thanks for stopping by the Daily Facts. Do like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Bye.